Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis, and this is another edition of No Capes, where I talk about comic books that either Ethan doesn't read or doesn't review along with me. And this time we're going to talk about Saucer Country. This is number 10. As we push closer and closer to the elections, in this issue we have the first debate before the debate, there's a couple attempts on the life of Arcadia, one of our main characters in here, the Latin American who is running for president. Some of her guards are killed. Some of her servicemen are killed in the process of the attempted execution. This issue has some more of the X-Files kind of stuff in there where you're never quite sure exactly what's going on. The ex-husband feels that he is being pushed or exposed by the aliens. Maybe he was potentially brainwashed into trying to assassinate her. And he, admits to the fact that he's worried that that's what he was supposed to have done. After the debate is over with, Arcadia tells him that that's not the case because she was with him in the times the other people were attacked or the attempts on people's lives happened. There's some other kind of craziness that's going on there. Our professor feels he's been exposed to some other alien stuff, but he's not sure how to address it and whatnot. I'm liking this comic, but this issue seemed to kind of meander. Nothing really got put together in this issue. I think there's going to be some big payoff down the road. And I'm really enjoying this, and I enjoy the political intrigue in this. Our person who's running the campaign is a bit concerned because everything is kind of going their way. It's all falling into place. And they haven't had any control over any of it. It's not because of what they've done. Things have just been kind of gifted to them. And she's kind of worried and suspicious about what's going on because it's all been gifted to them. Like I said, it's interesting reading the very end of it. You get the impression that there's some more conspiracy stuff going on. Who's hiding what from who, or you're not 100% sure. I like the comic. I'm not sure if this one stands strong on its own, but it certainly adds to the interest of the story as a whole. Yeah, I don't know what else I want to say about that without giving things actually away that are coming up in the story. And I don't want to do that because probably some of you guys are going to pick this up in trade, and I don't want to wreck that for you, but I like it. It's pretty cool. And it's a different kind of, I said, it's a different kind of a thing. Vertigo title. We'll see how long it goes. Seems how Vertigo is kind of getting strange on us. Okay, next I'm going to talk about Change, number 1. My finger. Love the cover. That's the reason I picked it up. Saw the cover image for it. And I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. Let's give you a kind of a synopsis about the setup of this thing. Okay, this person here, I can't remember the names of all of these people. I read too many books, I guess. She is a film writer who has written a film at the request of this rap artist, who is a rapper who wants to be a film star. The story that she has, and he specifically wants an H.P. Lovecraft-oriented type story that he is the star of. So she writes this story, and she writes a really dark and twisted story about how his now dead, murdered, in the movie, dead, murdered wife gives birth, after she's dead, gives birth to a child of Cthulhu. Okay, just to give you an idea of what she's writing. Okay, also, somebody is secretly following her, taping her, and videoing her, and they think that she is some sort of prophet who can name names and stuff. And the names that she's naming, the group that's following her, is hunting those people down and executing them. For some reason we're not sure of yet. This guy our rap star, is all in LA. Our rap star is just had a massive funeral for his pet dog. It seems he comes back to his home, and his home is being invaded because she has named him in the process. She is at her shrink. Her shrink is also her agent. And the shrink slash agent is a cultist also. They're all dressed up in robes. They try to kill her. Why the cultists try to kill her, I'm not 100% sure yet. They're also in this guy's house trying to kill him. He dives into his safe house, in his safe room. He's got a safe room, actual safe, you know. Of course, it's so safe that it cuts off his cell phone service. Meanwhile, this astronaut is coming back from the closest moon of Jupiter. He actually traveled to the closest moon of Jupiter. He is on his way back, and he is observing the Earth as he is flying in back to Earth. And as he's coming back to Earth, he can see, he's kind of, I don't know, almost hallucinating. He's picking up on radio broadcasts and things like that from Earth, but he can see a giant, large, black thing cruising across the ocean. Is it Cthulhu? Is it something like that? We don't know. That's the basics of the three main characters in this book. Writer who's written a dark story about Call of Cthulhu for this guy, this rap artist, and he wanted a Call of Cthulhu adventure action film, so she wrote a story that has his now dead wife giving birth to Cthulhu's child. We have this spaceman who's observing that happening in some sense. Anyway, it's an interesting comic. It's really strange. It's a comic I'd be nervous to actually recommend to somebody as far as that goes. Here's our first page of art. I dug the comic right off the bat because over here there's a couple quotes, snippets out of books, and it's got Sylvia Plath. I'm a big Sylvia Plath poet fan. Anyway, this is what the art actually looks like. And to me, the art rings of late 80s, very early 90s, Vertigo style type art. I'm trying not to get the glare on it. So, you know, take that for what you want. It's very Sandman-like artwork and whatnot, I think. As far as the art style, you know, people aren't 100% true in their looks and whatnot as far as looking like, they don't look perfect, like beautiful people, but obviously they look like the people that they are. You know, but there's kind of the art. I liked it. It's interesting. It's strange. I don't know what to think of it, to tell you the truth. It's kind of those things where I read it and I went, wow, you know, what the hell? You know, so I'm wanting to know what's going on. The end of it, at the end of this issue, it's actually got some other artwork that has to do with this guy. His album is here. Gives you some lyrics to some of his rap music. And his cover to his album, his album's there. So, $2.99 book. Like I said, I'm interested in it. It's 4 issues. This is one of 4. So I figure for 4 issues, unless it's just really horrific, I don't see how I can go wrong with committing to something for 4 issues. It's not that big a deal. Just to try something different. And this is really definitely falls under the lines of, you know, something different. Change. Anyone else reading this? I believe that a comic book mom, I think she said that she was going to be picking it up because she was attracted to the cover too, I think. Unless I'm not remembering right. Anybody else pick this book up? What'd you think of it? I'm curious. You know, other people adventuring out there into non-superhero books that might just be a slice of something else. This book kind of reminds me of the movie Strange Days, and it has kind of a William S. Burroughs feel to it. You know, Naked Lunch kind of a thing, if I'm not getting too literary. Just the fact that because it's so sliced up and strange. And when I say sliced up, not chopped up like Naked Lunch is chopped up, how he produced that book. But still, just really odd. It's just, you know, it's beyond normal strangeness. It's just flat out weird kind of a thing. Anyway, that is change. And lastly, this time I am going to talk about, oh boy, the glare is bad today, The Massive, and this is issue 7. This is part 1 of the arc called The Subcontinental, The Rig. First off, let's talk about this cover. They need to quit making covers like this. This cover is very bland and very generic. Yes, it's a giant rig and that's what is in the comic, but you had to have had a better way to make this more interesting and more creative. I don't think this is a Brian Wood. No, this isn't a Brian Wood cover. I like it when he does the covers. I don't know, not 100% sure who did this cover. But when Brian Wood does his own covers, that's the only art he really does anymore, he at least makes it kind of iconic and interesting looking, whereas this is just bland and boring. You're not going to get people to happen to be walking along and happen to see this on a shelf, wherever it gets stocked on a shelf at, and go, "Ooh, boy, that looks like something I want to pick up and read." So, do have a criticism about that. I like the art on the inside. Story for this is really interesting. You basically got some people from out of India took over an oil rig that was floating out in international waters. Some other people pulled some other of these giant oil rigs all together, and they tied them all together, and they've basically made their own country, and they're trying to get recognition in the United Nations to be their own sovereign state. And they basically are. They're kind of a utopia of sorts, quote-unquote utopia. It's a peaceful place, supposedly, all that kind of good stuff. Well, the capital, the crew of the capital, you know, go here for some R&R and to see if they can get any of their supplies and that sort of thing. They're basically welcome with open arms until they actually get to the rig itself, and because they're celebrities as far as these people are concerned, they kind of the people of the capital and the Ninth Wave represent the same thing that they kind of want to represent in living a cleaner, better life than the horrible life that was created. They get there and there's some complications right off the bat. They actually have a pretty hefty security force to help make sure the place stays the way it is. You know, they question and they want to, you know, catalog all the weapons that the capital has on them. Okay, fine, whatever. They get on board this place. You find out that it's not as cracked up as it seems to be. There's some pretty rampant racism in there. They have a kind of a snotty, you know, attitude towards Mal, who is a Tamil Tiger, which means he's Muslim to some degree. And they kind of look snotty upon that. I think basically it being a predominantly Indian place, so I'm assuming that it's more Hindu and that sort of thing. I don't really talk about religion a whole lot other than they kind of, you know, be snotty about him. A massive storm is coming in, and during this massive storm, they actually, the city-state here actually takes control of all the ships that are docked at this country, and they're going to move them out to sea so they don't damage the place. And they're going to do this without anybody's permission. They basically come and tell you that's what's going to happen. So there's a bit of freak out. There's some sabotage going on the rig, and the second mate, Cal, the captain of the Capitol, girlfriend has disappeared, and we don't know what she's up to. Really interesting. I think it's an intriguing story. It's got kind of a, you know, it's got a little bit of a mystery to it, a little bit of whodunit, a little bit of political theater, and this kind of hint at things could suddenly go really, really bad. And while all this is going on, each of the different groups of the crew are making their own stakes on how they think Ninth Wave and the Capitol should operate going forward in this new world where there aren't really countries. You gotta write new rules and whatnot, and they don't believe that Cal, being the pacifist that he is gonna function the right way. So they're questioning his wisdom without actually questioning it to his face. So, interesting. I really like this book. It's a thoughtful, ready type book, and I enjoy that. I enjoy, you know, occasionally having a book that isn't you know, fist to face and that's it, kind of a thing. So I'm really enjoying this this book. It is fairly typical Brian Wood as far as the style and the way it's done, and I appreciate that. I like that. So there you have that. And that is it for this time. I will catch you all later in the week for whatever else I have going on. Have a good one.